you going? Have you got to the apocalyptic literature yet? Woo! Full on, right? Can I say with apocalyptic literature, and this is why I love the book of Revelation, don't go weird. You know, some try and fit it into a timeline of end times, and some trying to shove it here and shove it there. Just sit in it. Just sit in the craziness of these visions. Because can I say, some movies today, more crazy than this. Sit in the imagination of God as you really just read these. And yeah, it's going to stretch your imagination in it, but just let it. I'm going to talk about in the dive this week. Just let your imagination go and just sit in these beautiful visions that Daniel has. Because same with the book of Revelation, when you sit in it without squashing it into end times and making it weird, it's really just God communicating to Daniel visions of the future. Now, we know Daniel 7 to 12 are visions of his future, his time, the governance, the powers that are about to rise up. And some people have done it that way, measured the visions compared to the history and gone, oh, well, this prophesies the uprising of Greece and the Greek uprising and all of that sort of stuff. That's a great way of looking at it. Also, you know, the visions of future times even for us today. As I said, I wanted to film these videos, but it's not raining anymore, but it was pouring rain when we got up to film these. Down in Kirribilli, there is a tree that comes out of a brick wall. It's a wall and this beautiful tree, and the tree is massive. I wish you could see it. It's huge. But when you have a look at the roots of that tree, the roots must go down so deep, but the tree is built around in concrete. It's come out. Daniel is that kind of book, that no matter where you find yourself, no matter what's happening, God's favor, God's visions, God's download from heaven can come to you no matter where. Paul in prison's worshiping because the prison walls aren't containing his faith or his visions or his thinking for God. And Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are the same. They are in exile, but nothing contains them. And can I say, as you read this, really notice the favor of God on these guys, because the themes of this book, we're going to go through the time. And now remember the time I said in the last two snapshots. We are in 2 Kings 24, so the end of the two separations of the kingdom, and now we're in Judah being taken into exile, to basically the book of Ezra. Daniel sits between those two books. And what we're going to do on TYB is we're actually going to put these books in chronological order so that you could kind of read them book by book in chronological order. So it sits in that time period. We're in Babylon, and you know we're then in Babylon is overtaken by Persia. This is about God as deliverer. You find out about God in the Old Testament by the stories and by reading the Old Testament. I'm about to read a book talking about how God of the Old Testament is different to God of the New Testament, and Jesus revealed doesn't look like the Old Testament God. But when I read the Old Testament in full, when I read the books of the Old Testament in full, I can see that Yahweh is faithful and continuing and abounding in love. And oh my gosh, he waited so long for those guys to repent, the Israelites. And then he has to give them time out in exile. But even in exile, as we cry out to him, he rescues them. He never leaves them. Even in exile, he's talking to the kings. Did you notice in Daniel 1-6 that the kings get saved and then they make these edicts that Daniel's God is, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's God is the God. He turns up in the fire. Now, theologians have studied this because whether it's an angel, whether it's a manifestation of God, or whether it's Jesus, the fourth man in that fire that turns up, no matter where you find yourself in the fire, he's like, it's all right, Shadrach, Meshach. And they came out, what did I say in the dive last time? Not even smelling like fire. Oh my gosh, guys. We can be in the worst of situations where everything goes wrong, and if we remain in faith, knowing that God is in control, not even smelling like fire. God himself is revealed through his interactions with his people. So as you read these stories, don't think of Sunday school stories. Think of, I am learning about the nature of God. I am learning about Yahweh and how no matter what happens, he is with his people. And therefore, I can put this as a precedent, law talk, I can put this as a precedent that he will be with me no matter what happens, no matter where I go, because if I'm walking in his will and faithful, he's with me. Now, I loved that even getting rid of the food, saying no to food 10 times better. The favor over it. God is all powerful and in control despite present circumstances, which is what Tremper Longman's commentary talks about. Guys, I hope you've genuinely loved the book of Daniel. Now, I know the apocalyptic stuff. You're like, Katie, tell me about the 77s and the flaming torches and the 4 beasts with the mare. No, I want you to sit in them like historical, like the visions that they are. And I want you to really wrestle with them. Grab a commentary if you want to know a little bit more. But sit in this text and imagine, let your imagination go, because in the middle of this idolatrous nation, these 4 young men stand for God. Were they pinnacle in King Cyrus sending them back? For me, I'm like, I'm going to get to heaven and ask Daniel and say, did you show King Cyrus Jeremiah? Were you there? What happened? Tell me. I don't know. But there's so much in this book. God remains faithful throughout the whole thing. As they worship him, as they pray, as they seek him, God gives them visions and favor, and they get promoted in the lion's den. Oh my gosh, like there's so much in this text, but I'm just going to let you really finish this book and love this. I hope you've loved the book of Daniel. I have absolutely loved studying this, and I hope that you really get encouragement no matter where you find yourself. No matter, your roots go down deep in God, and he is faithful no matter what. It's a prophetic adventure, and I love the way it kind of finishes. Did you hear the language of beautiful land? Beautiful land, as he talks about Jerusalem, and he talks about this beautiful land. As for you, go your way till the end. You will rest, and then at the end of the days you will rise to receive your allotted inheritance. This is God's promise to Daniel at the end, going, well done, mate. As for you, keep going. This beautiful time where he's talking. Can I say, just to finish, the interaction of the angels, Michael, and coming into these visions. God is a God that is above your imagination. You haven't even dreamt of what we're going to see in heaven. Angels and these 4 beasts and this incredible. Let your imagination go as you finish this book. I hope you've loved studying Daniel with us, because we have absolutely loved presenting Daniel to you. Have a ball as you finish it.